comme cela, je peux l'emmener devant le tribunal de notre tribu et l'accuser de viol spirituel.
All I have to do is prove that this man does not speak my language and this man is not of my tribe.
La seule chose que j'ai à prouver dans ce cas-là, pour qu'il soit condamné, c'est qu'il ne parle pas ma langue et qu'il n'est pas de ma tribu.
So it's a very delicate situation, you know, if you really put it in this political setting, you know, you can do whatever you want to in ways of spiritual things that go on. Even a woman who is a medicine woman can use it against her husband for spiritual abuse.
Alors tout ça c'est très délicat parce qu'on peut utiliser beaucoup de choses dans le monde spirituel contre, si on va dans les zones politiques, et même une femme de médecine peut utiliser cet usage illégal des choses spirituelles contre son mari.
Even if a woman is in her moon and is raped by a man, that woman can go to court on spiritual abuse and win the case.
Si une femme a ses règles et qu'elle est violée par un homme, elle peut aller devant ce tribunal et parler de viol spirituel. Will she win the trial?
That's what I said. She will win her trial.
Oui,
Yes.
elle gagnera le procès. Elle gagnera le procès.
It is a very, you know, you're talking about spirituality now. You know, you're talking about different ways. They don't teach you this in religion because, you know, religion is open. You know, you can go rape a woman as you please, and sometimes they even let you get away. You know?
Même parfois, quand on viole une femme, on peut aujourd'hui, que la religion est très relâchée, on peut même être libéré, ne pas être condamné.
But a man can also bring spiritual abuse on a woman.
Mais un homme peut aussi accuser une femme de viol spirituel.
So it works either way. You know.
Ça marche dans les deux sens.
Quelles sont les sanctions du tribunal? Quelles sont les sanctions du tribunal?
What punishment then is given to the one who is accused of spiritual abuse?
Today the word is finances. You know.
Aujourd'hui, le monde, c'est les finances.
They can take you for everything you have.
Ils peuvent vous prendre tout ce que vous avez.
So you have to understand these things. You have, no. You can, if you're a millionaire, you wouldn't be for long if they took you to court.
Et si vous êtes un millionnaire, ils vous prendront tout si on vous fait passer en jugement.
C'est dangereux pour la femme, ça, à ce moment-là.
Says then it's dangerous for the woman.
Yes, it's dangerous for both of them.
C'est dangereux pour les deux.
So it is a situation when we're going back to this spiritual abuse, or going back to a woman on her moon. Our people realized it hundreds of years ago, so that is the reason why they made the moon lodge and they put the woman over there. When the woman was put over there, if the man did not know how to cook or take care of the children, the sisters and the aunties and the grandmothers of the man comes along and they teach him everything there is to know. They will not go there to cook for him, change clothes for him. They will only go there to teach him, and then they get away.
Alors, notre peuple avait compris cela il y a des centaines d'années, c'est pourquoi ils avaient mis une loge de la lune en dehors du village. Mais l'homme restant dans le village, les tantes, les cousines, les sœurs de cet homme venaient dans la maison pour lui apprendre les choses nécessaires. Elles ne faisaient pas ces choses pour lui, elles venaient seulement les lui apprendre.
There was a couple in Holland. You know, a man and his wife, they were both doctors who are learning from me also. But the woman has already raised her children, and she's in her menopause stage, you know. She looked at her husband and she said, "Why didn't we know this in the first place?" You know?
Il y a un couple de médecins en Hollande qui travaillent avec lui, et mais la femme a déjà élevé ses enfants, elle a passé la période de la ménopause, et quand ils ont appris cela, elle a dit, mais enfin, pourquoi est-ce qu'on n'a pas su ça avant?
All the man says, "Well, you know, I would have done it anyway." You know?
Et l'homme a dit, mais tu sais bien que de toute façon, je l'aurais fait.
Je ne l'aurais pas fait.
I don't want to stir up any problems between a man and a woman, you know, a husband, you know, and a wife that's here. You know,
je veux absolument pas faire surgir des problèmes entre les hommes et les femmes qui sont ici, mais bon.
Why do you say when a woman loses positivity, you know, and is in a negative state, why do you say it takes a whole day? During the whole day, why do you say all day?
Not the woman. If a woman loses her negative,
yeah,
she stays positive all day long.
Yeah, but why do you say all day long?
Well,
It doesn't reverse quickly?
It goes back to her, but it already affects the mind.
Yeah.
Mentally, it is affected. So, regardless, if she's back to she loses the positive and negative. She loses the negative just for a brief second. But in that brief second, it affects the mentality.
I do that, but I don't understand why you say the whole day.
So, day and night does not dwell together. Okay? Day and night cannot dwell together. The moon and the sun does not revolve in the same time like this. They go opposite each other. Day and night cannot dwell together. The sun can only give energy from the time it comes up to the time it goes down.
So that's why you say the whole day.
Yes. But it affects the mind. It affects the mind of the woman. You know, and then it goes. If a man and woman both understand this situation, if they both understood this situation, they will start experimenting with themselves, and when you start doing that, you're going to find out that
Yeah, but you know,
how true it is, you know.
sometimes I notice myself when
Many times for men going to work, you know, and their wife is on their period, and it has affected them, and he takes it to work with him, you know. Rather than not going to work, he goes to work and, you know, he fights with all his friends because he's very aggressive at work. You know?
So aggressive men are always on the move?
I wouldn't say that. Some men just want you to think that they're always aggressive. You know, they work just like a woman. You know? Man and woman are the same in many ways. You know? The woman is always saying that, "Oh, I can't lift that; it's too heavy." You know? At the moment the man's head is turned, that woman picks it up, throws it. It's that same thing. Man is always thinking he's aggressive, he's macho, you know, he's tough all the time, you know. But you turn around, he can cry.
La question portait sur la durée pendant laquelle le cerveau de la femme, son mental, était affecté par le transfert d'énergie négative qui avait duré 1 seconde. Et la réponse était, le transfert lui-même ne peut durer qu'1 seconde, mais ce qui est affecté, mais pendant cette seconde, le cerveau est affecté, ce qui fait que l'humeur de la femme reste dans la négativité. Et pourquoi est-ce que ça dure une journée? Parce que il faut passer à un autre stade d'énergie, comme du jour à la nuit, de la même manière que le soleil et la lune ne fonctionnent pas ensemble, le jour et la nuit ont des énergies différentes qui changent les énergies du cerveau. Et puis un autre élément, c'est que même si on est capable de changer cette énergie négative qui est dans le mental par soi-même, elle peut continuer d'affecter la personne qui a été près de la femme a été affectée, elle. Et c'est pourquoi certains hommes ont des humeurs agressives sans qu'on sache pourquoi, qu'ils transportent avec eux pendant la période des règles de leur femme.
When a man takes a mate, he goes to the similar side. If a man takes a mate, takes a wife, he goes to the similar cycle.
Si un homme a une amie ou un partenaire, il suit le rythme de la partenaire.
If a man never takes a mate in his life, he is affected by the negative side. And that's why that woman was saying, a man is aggressive all the time. If one man is aggressive all the time, it's obvious that, you know, he has never had a mate or he's been a single man all his life. But it also works with a single woman in the same instance.
Si un homme n'a pas de partenaire ou reste célibataire, il peut rester toute sa vie agressif. C'est-à-dire que les énergies ne s'échangent pas. C'est la même chose pour les femmes. Si une femme n'est jamais mariée, elle reste uniquement dans son cycle.
There is, among our people, a woman on her moon, her menstruation time, is the most spiritual time there is for a woman. It is a time of openness, it is a time of prayer, it is a time of meditation.
La période des règles pour les femmes, on la connaît chez notre peuple comme étant la période la plus spirituelle qui puisse exister. C'est un temps de méditation, de prière et de recherche spirituelle.
In reference to understanding these things, it is for women to understand these ways. I am sure that you had an idea sometimes along the line, but to bring it back into the realm of spirituality and understanding, you will learn that your ideas were right in the first place, but your spirituality has been pulled off to the side and placed in its place religious things such as dogmas that a woman is very dirty at that time that separate you from your teaching.
Le problème avec ces notions de spiritualité reliée aux règles de la femme, c'est qu'au début, certainement, si vous regardez un peu en vous-même, vous avez dû avoir ce sentiment intérieur de la spiritualité, la prière et la méditation associés à cette période des règles. Mais ce qui s'est passé, c'est que les dogmes religieux ont pris la place de votre sentiment intérieur et ces dogmes religieux ont amené les notions d'impureté et de saleté à la place de votre sentiment intérieur. Et c'est pourquoi on ne sait plus où on en est de ce sentiment associé aux règles.
A woman on her menstruation time cannot go to the mountain for a vision quest for 4 days and 4 nights.
Une femme qui a ses règles ne peut pas partir dans la montagne pour une quête de vision qui dure 4 jours et 4 nuits.
It is, if you do, it is like a double thing. It is like taking hallucinogens, going on the mountain and getting a false vision.
Si vous le faites, c'est comme une double chose. C'est comme si vous preniez un hallucinogène et que vous partiez pour aller chercher une vision fausse.
It is better for a woman to go on a vision quest when she is not on her moon.
Il vaut beaucoup mieux qu'une femme fasse une quête de vision quand elle n'a pas ses règles.
One of the reasons is that a medicine man who takes you up on a mountain for a vision quest on your moon will be affected, that medicine man will be affected by your administration cycle.
Une des raisons est que votre cycle pourra perturber l'homme de médecine qui vous emmène dans cette quête de vision sur la montagne.
So there are many things that a woman on her menstruation, there are many things that she can do, and there are many things also that she cannot do.
Donc pendant ces règles, il y a beaucoup de choses qu'une femme peut faire et beaucoup de choses qu'elle ne peut pas faire.
If a woman can prove, let's say, if a woman can prove that she has accepted the Indian religion and knows these things, and if she is working for a big incorporation, she can take whatever amount of days that she wants to get off from her job. They will have to pay her for those.
Si une femme peut prouver qu'elle appartient à la tradition et qu'elle est de religion indienne, et and the second reason she can prove,
Et qu'elle connaît ces choses-là.
oui, et qu'elle est au courant de cela, elle peut demander dans la compagnie où elle travaille le nombre de jours qui lui sont nécessaires et sans qu'on lui enlève de l'argent. Et on doit le lui donner.
Some of the Indian women are starting to do this. They are recording it on their record at places where they work that they are of the Indian religion. And they put the name of the medicine man down, and then when they do come on their moon time, they just pick up the telephone and tell the boss, I'm sorry, I can't come in for when my moon is over with. And the boss gets mad, he picks up the phone and calls the medicine man. Is this the truth? And the man says, yes. He has to hang up and pay the woman for the time that she misses. So there is an advantage to that, but you must accept the religion first, the spirituality of the Indian people.
Aujourd'hui, il y a des femmes indiennes qui commencent à utiliser cela de façon politique et qui prennent le téléphone quand elles ont leurs règles et téléphonent à leur patron en lui disant « Je suis désolée, mais je ne pourrai pas venir avant que mes règles ne soient finies ». Le patron devient complètement fou. Il téléphone à l'homme de médecine et lui dit « Est-ce que c'est vrai qu'elle suit la religion indienne ?» Et l'homme de médecine dit ben « Oui, c'est vrai ». Et alors le patron repose le téléphone et ne peut rien faire, il n'a qu'à payer la femme. Mais pour cela, il faut que l'on sache que la femme suit la religion et la tradition indienne.
One thing that man must understand is when a man and a woman understands these things. My first wife, who's deceased, who passed away, her and I understood these things very well. So there were times when I wanted to leave, I'll go with the boys or go fishing or something like this. But then my wife says, I'm on my moon. I tell my friends, goodbye, I'll see you guys. What, don't you like us anymore? How come you don't want to come? I don't want to tell them my wife is on the moon, and I can't leave because I got to take care of my children, I got to do the cooking. I don't want to tell my friends that, although they're Indians, they're said, oh, you turned into a sissy, huh? That's kind of a thing, so I'll see you guys later. So I'm stuck at home, changing diapers, washing dishes and cooking, It's not so bad after all. No, it's pretty easy. I didn't have to do nothing. You know, play with the kids all day.
But if your wife is on the moon, aren't you on the moon too?
No. That's why she leaves.
It's only if you stay with
You
your
stay
wife.
together. You don't lay with your wife or even get close to her when she's on her moon. The woman understands that, so she leaves.
But if you stay with her, you're on the moon too.
Yes.
You have
You
to
stay
leave
side by side with her.
and you have to go with her.
No.
Ça n'a pas d'effet à ce moment-là. Ça ne change rien.
There is no affection, it does not affect a woman during that time. Sometimes it's in the middle of the month, or sometimes the third of the month, sometimes the first of the month.
D'un côté, moi je comprends pas, d'un côté il dit que la femme ne doit pas aller dans la montagne à la recherche de vision, et d'un autre côté il dit qu'elle part seule dans la montagne. Alors, moi je comprends plus où est-ce qu'elle va dans l'histoire.
She is very puzzled because on the one hand you say she is not allowed to go for a vision quest on the mountain, and on the other hand you say, well, she has to go to the mountain. So when
You going yourself on a mountain and a medicine man taking you on a mountain.
c'est une différence quand tu pars toi toute seule dans la montagne et quand tu pars avec un homme de médecine. Quand tu vas faire une quête de vision, tu pars avec un homme de médecine que tu peux affecter.
Elle part seule, mais elle peut quand même avoir des visions.
She does how she goes along, but she's still in la quête de vision, c'est une chose précise.
That's up to her.
Ça dépend si elle en a envie. C'est son affaire.
That is why the woman is in a very sacred situation in the time of meditation. It was at this time that a woman brought the sweat lodge to the man.
Ça dépend si la femme est dans une période sacrée pour sa méditation. Et c'est à cette époque-là que la femme spirituelle a apporté la sweat lodge de la tradition indienne.
Est-ce que les femmes spirites chez les Indiennes
De nous dans un institut psychiatrique.
So there is, unless she is a modern woman of today and has sex with everybody that comes along, you know, and winds up with some kind of disease.
À moins que ça ne soit une femme comme les femmes d'aujourd'hui qui ont des relations sexuelles tout à fait libres et qu'elles n'attrapent une maladie, ça n'arrive pas.
I have never seen it actually among, you know, as long as I have been alive, I have never seen any of our women on the tribe, of the thousands of Indian women, I have never seen it. They had children, but this is one thing, is a fact. There were women. There is approximately 1,330 of them that the U.S. government experimented with. Indian women who had children at the Indian hospitals on the reservation. And the doctors that were working there were interns hired by the government who sterilized these women without the women knowing about it. Yes, that is on record, and we have the U.S. government. We're going to court against the U.S. government because of this 1,330 women that the U.S. government has sterilized for experimental purposes.
Il n'y a aucun cas de femme stérile chez les Indiens, sauf celui-là qui est
It's not only towards Indian women that this has happened. It happened towards Oriental women, and it happened to the black women in America, you know, the poor people of America. This is what the American government has experimented with.
Ce n'est pas seulement les femmes indiennes qui ont été touchées, le gouvernement américain a également fait des expériences de ce genre avec les femmes orientales et avec les femmes noires du ghetto.
There is no purple,
Il n'y a pas de
any of
rose,
these colors.
aucune de ces couleurs.
There was a man who wanted to change these. 10 years ago, his name was Bill Flagman, this man called Chief Eagle Feather, who was half German and half Sioux.
Il y a quelqu'un qui a voulu changer cela il y a une dizaine d'années. Cet homme qui était à moitié allemand, à moitié Sioux, Eagle Feather.
He came to the council of the medicine men and chiefs.
Il est venu au conseil des hommes de médecine et des chefs.
And he mentioned the fact that I like to add to these 6 colors purple, pink, and bright green.
Il a dit, je veux ajouter à ces couleurs le violet, le rose et le vert. Clair.
So my father had made a counter proposal.
Mon père a fait une contre-proposition.
The next sweat lodge we build, we will make a little place inside on the east side so we can put the statue of the Blessed Virgin Mary and Joseph.
Alors mon père a fait une contre-proposition. Dans la sweat lodge suivante que nous ferions un endroit spécial où nous pourrions ainsi mettre la statue de la bienheureuse Vierge Marie et celle de Saint Joseph.
All the medicine men started laughing, so that subject died right there.
Tous les autres hommes de médecine se sont mis à rire, alors ce sujet a été clos définitivement.
You don't come along and change these things, because the modern generation or some other church has these colors for their own use.
On ne change pas les traditions parce que la jeune génération ou d'autres personnes utilisent ces couleurs.
We are not trying to impress anybody, only to use these natural colors for our ceremonies.
Nous n'essayons d'impressionner personne, nous utilisons simplement ces couleurs naturelles pour nos cérémonies.
The modern generation always have said also that this color, black, red, yellow, and white, stands for the 4 races of man.
La nouvelle génération a également vu que ces 4 couleurs représentent les 4, le noir, le rouge, le jaune et le blanc représentent les 4 races de l'humanité.
But it is only 30 years old, what they are saying.
Mais ce qu'ils disent n'a que 30 ans, il n'y a que 30 ans qu'on dit cela.
These people who say this say it because they don't know the ancient songs that we have.
Ces jeunes disent cela parce qu'ils ne connaissent pas les anciens chants que nous avons.
The ancient songs that we have does not mention the color yellow.
Nos anciens chants ne mentionnent pas la couleur jaune.
In its place, it mentions the color brown.
À la place du jaune, les chants mentionnent la couleur brun.
So which is right, the modern man or the ancient teachings?
Alors, qu'est-ce qui a raison? L'homme moderne ou les enseignements anciens, traditionnels?
As a spiritual person, I would say the ancient teachings are right because in our language there is no such thing as colors, hatred of colors, or prejudices in our language.
Pour moi, je dirais que ce sont les enseignements traditionnels anciens qui ont raison, car dans notre langue, il n'existe pas de mots pour désigner la haine raciale ni le préjugé racial.
But in the English language, I would say this is right. Only in the English language, because in the English language it teaches you hate. It teaches you hate of another because of the color of race. It teaches you hate of other spiritual teachings.
Mais je dirais que ces appellations de couleurs sont justes en ce qui concerne la langue anglaise, parce que dans cette langue, le mot haine existe, le mot haine des autres existe, la haine des autres races existe.
One of the things that I'm doing among our own people is trying to let our young people know that these ancient songs that we sing does not mention the color yellow.
Une des choses aussi que je fais parmi mon peuple, c'est d'apprendre aux jeunes générations que dans nos chants anciens, il n'y a pas on ne mentionne pas la couleur jaune.
This color yellow came from the coming of the European man, the one who spoke the English language.
Le jaune est venu à l'arrivée de l'homme européen dont nous parlons la langue aujourd'hui.
Many years ago, I was told of the yellow race. So I traveled throughout the Orient, through Siberia, through China, and I did not find a yellow man.
On m'a parlé il y a longtemps de l'homme jaune. Alors j'ai voyagé à travers l'Asie. Je suis allée en Sibérie et je suis allée dans les pays de l'Est, mais je n'ai jamais rencontré quelqu'un jaune, un homme jaune.
It is used for separation of conquering the people, the man of colors. Many people do not know when we say the man of colors. The man of colors is the Oriental man, the black man, the Indian man. These are the men of colors.
Lorsqu'on parle de l'homme de couleur, l'homme de couleur inclut l'homme noir, l'homme rouge et l'homme oriental.
Contrary to the beliefs of Western man, the man of colors dominate the entire world.
Contrairement à ce que l'on peut croire dans le monde occidental, l'homme de couleur est prédominant dans le monde entier.
There are more men of color than there are men of the white.
Il y a beaucoup plus d'hommes de couleur dans le monde qu'il n'y a de blancs.
So man should not be too involved in trying to keep the separation of these three men of color, because once they do, the color white will be taken off the face of the earth.
Alors on ne devrait pas tellement se soucier d'établir des distinctions entre ces trois hommes de couleur, parce que c'est une préoccupation qui risque de nuire à l'homme de couleur blanche, qui risquerait à ce moment-là de disparaître de la surface de la terre.
Neither should the man of the black or the red or the yellow or whatever he wishes himself to be use this as such to divide the people of the world.
Et de la même manière, un homme qu'il soit,
All men and women are brothers and sisters.
aux yeux du Créateur et de la création, tous les hommes, quelle que soit leur couleur, sont frères et sœurs.
The faster we understand this, the better off we will be from stopping some of these prophecies that have been given to different people.
Plus tôt nous cesserons de croire à ces notions de division, plus tôt nous comprendrons et nous pourrons arrêter ces prophéties qui nous ont été données et qui devraient arriver bientôt.
Prophecies received by prophets in the ancient time were used for that time and that era, only for that time, and it does not affect the future prophecies of the future generations.
Les prophéties qui ont été données dans les anciens temps pour l'époque que nous vivons ont été données uniquement pour l'époque que nous vivons et n'ont rien à voir avec ce qui se passera dans les temps futurs.
These prophecies that were given to people were given to change the outlook of the world.
Ces prophéties qui ont été données aux gens leur ont été données pour changer l'apparence des choses et la face du monde.
The very fact that I received a vision on the mountain and been given a prophecy that the world will be destroyed within the next 10 years is only to change the man of the creation, the man that is walking today.
Le fait que j'ai reçu sur une montagne une vision disant que le monde serait détruit avant 10 ans, cette prophétie a pour seul but de changer l'homme à l'intérieur de lui pour le temps présent.
Some people of wisdom, some people of knowledge, people of education might have contrary views, but these are my views. They are not contrary, because everything that I do, that I see is happening. Right from the very beginning, I have been fighting against what you know as God or the Creator.
Ce que je vous dis là, ce sont mes propres convictions. Certains peuvent dire d'autres choses. Mais je vous le dis parce que depuis le début, j'ai lutté contre ce que nous appelons Dieu.
I have been trying to prove that the Creator does make mistakes.
J'ai passé beaucoup de temps à essayer de prouver que le Créateur avait fait beaucoup d'erreurs.
That we are not all bad after all.
Et que nous ne sommes pas tous mauvais, en fin de compte.
Few years ago, 10 years ago, my father and 10 other medicine men from the Hopis, Navajos, Iroquois got together in California and instructed all Indians to leave that area.
Il y a une dizaine d'années, mon père et d'autres hommes de médecine, des Navajos, des Hopis et des Iroquois, se sont rendus en Californie pour parler aux gens de cette région.
And these medicine men were very mad at me because I did not want to leave. I chose to stay there with the thousands of people that were there because I believe that many of these people were good people, and I would rather die with these good people than leave that area.
Son père et d'autres hommes de médecine ont quitté la Californie et lui n'a pas voulu la quitter. Et mon père et les hommes de médecine étaient très fâchés contre moi que je reste avec ces milliers de gens de Californie que je pensais être des gens bien et que je n'aurais voulu pour rien au monde laisser plutôt que de repartir.
So these medicine men, they got together and they moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, telling all the Indians, move away from there because there is going to be massive earthquakes there.
Alors tous les hommes de médecine ont quitté la Californie et se sont rendus au Nouveau-Mexique en disant qu'il fallait partir parce qu'il y allait avoir un tremblement de terre massif dans cette région.
On that day that this massive earthquake was supposed to happen, me and somewhere around 200 Indian children were playing in the field, teaching them how to play ball.
Le jour où ce fameux tremblement de terre devait se produire, j'étais avec 200 enfants indiens en train de jouer au ballon sur une pelouse.
And the earthquake did happen, but it happened in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Et ce tremblement de terre a réellement eu lieu, mais il a eu lieu à Albuquerque, au Nouveau-Mexique, là où étaient les hommes de médecine.
These certain medicine men did not talk to me for a whole year after that.
Et ces hommes de médecine en question, parmi eux, il y en a beaucoup qui ne m'ont pas dit un mot pendant une année entière après que ce soit produit.
I didn't want to prove them wrong. I just want to prove to them that there are also good people there.
Je ne voulais pas prouver qu'ils avaient tort. Je voulais simplement leur prouver que parmi les gens qui vivaient en Californie, il y avait des gens qui étaient des gens bien.
It is also the very fact that I am here today because I know that there are good people here today.
Et c'est aussi la raison pour laquelle je me trouve ici aujourd'hui, parce que je sais qu'il y a des gens bien ici aujourd'hui.
I am not like the most of the medicine men at home, that they don't want to come to Europe because it was the white man who has done those things to the Indian people in America.
Je ne suis pas comme certains hommes de médecine qui ne veulent pas venir en Europe parce que c'est l'homme blanc d'Europe qui a fait tout le mal aux Indiens d'Amérique.
You have to understand the implication that this causes, because once you do come to Europe, you will understand that the very thing that is happening to my people happened to the European people 2,000 years ago.
Vous devez comprendre l'implication que cela a, parce que ce qui s'est passé avec mon peuple est arrivé aux Européens il y a 2000 ans.
But how strong is man that he can turn the other cheek? I believe personally that although my people have died and suffered and been massacred, I am strong enough to come to the very fact and to the very place where these things have begun, trying to change those things where it started from.
Et quoique mon peuple ait été décimé, massacré et spolié de ses terres, je me sens assez fort aujourd'hui pour venir à ce même endroit d'où est parti ce mouvement et confronter la situation pour essayer de changer les choses.
It took me since 1980 to justify the teachings I am doing in Europe. And today I have the endorsement of all the medicine men of my tribe to go ahead and change things in the world.
Il m'a fallu 4 ans depuis 1980 pour essayer de convaincre les gens de mon peuple du travail que je faisais ici. Et aujourd'hui, c'est avec leur assentiment et leur bénédiction qu'ils m'envoient pour essayer de changer les choses dans le monde.
But I would not say I did not suffer. I did suffer since 1980 till maybe earlier this spring. I suffered abuse, I suffered hatred, I suffered prejudices among my own people, I suffered every kind of prosecution and persecuting there is from the people of the world, but I am not concerned of the people of the world, I am more concerned of my mother, the earth.
Et depuis cette date, jusque récemment, peut-être jusqu'au début de cette année, au début du printemps, j'ai beaucoup souffert. J'ai souffert de préjugés, j'ai souffert de haine, j'ai souffert de beaucoup de choses de la part de mon peuple. Et c'est cela qui m'a fait le plus souffrir, c'est les préjugés que mon peuple avait contre ce fait d'aller enseigner en Europe.
If you have contrary views, it is good that each man has contrary views on teachings, because that is also being part of being a human, to have opposing views. All I'm concerned is about the future generation and your children and your grandchildren, that they will come to a place which is still as beautiful as it is today.
Qu'il y ait des gens qui ne soient pas d'accord, c'est normal. Cela fait partie de l'humain, d'avoir des opinions différentes. Mais tout ce qui m'importe, c'est que vos enfants et vos petits-enfants, que la génération future puisse venir sur la terre en un endroit qui restera aussi beau qu'il a toujours été.
I cannot impose my teaching spiritually, physically, or mentally, or emotionally upon you, only to let you know what the Indian on the reservation thinks and what his teachings are. I am not concerned of the half-breed man. I am not concerned of a man that is mixed blood who lives in a big city. who does not understand these teachings. I am not concerned of those persons. I'm only concerned about those that are still living on a reservation, and also to inform you that on my reservation there are many elderly people who are superior to the teachings that I teach. Next year you might decide to come to America.
Yes.
You come to Crow Dog's Paradise during the Sundance time and tell you Lame Deer invited you, and you can come to all our ceremonies, and then you will see who these people are.
L'année prochaine, vous pouvez très bien envisager de vous rendre aux États-Unis et d'aller aux danses du soleil qu'organise Crow Dog. Vous direz à Crow Dog, nous venons de la part de Lame Deer qui nous a invités. Et vous pourrez voir à ce moment-là comment sont nos cérémonies.
The land in America is so huge that we don't know what's going on 3,000 or 4,000 miles away.
C'est si vaste les États-Unis que nous ne savons pas ce qui se passe 3 ou 4 000 kilomètres plus loin.
The very fact, and I'll mention it over and over, and I will keep mentioning it till the end, to the last day, that whatever you learn from another man, and if it affects your life positively, keep it. Because if you do without it, you will hurt yourself.
Je ne veux rien vous imposer, et je répète et je répéterai jusqu'au dernier de mes jours ce que je vous ai déjà dit. Si l'enseignement de quelqu'un d'autre vous a fait du bien, a amené du positif dans votre vie, gardez-le, car si vous le laissiez tomber, vous vous blesseriez vous-même.
This much I can tell you. If you come among my people on the reservation, and you conduct a sweat lodge exactly the way I'm teaching you, you have been given one job, and that job is to take care of that body that you have physically. And for those reasons, man should not commit suicide. If he understands his ways and his emotions physically, mentally, spiritually, then he will not commit suicide, because he will understand that he will not go into the spiritual circle, but to be caught between the physical world and the spiritual world.
Les connexions de votre corps sont celles du mental, des émotions, du physique et du spirituel. Dans la sweat lodge qui doit être utilisée à des fins de thérapie, vous devez apprendre aussi à utiliser les jus de votre corps, en particulier les larmes. Pourquoi les femmes sont-elles plus fortes que les hommes dans les sweat lodges? C'est parce que les femmes savent pleurer et pleurent naturellement. Notre société, notre civilisation a réprimé pour les hommes tout ce qui était l'expression des émotions, comme les larmes. Un homme ne doit pas pleurer. C'est pourquoi dans les sweat lodges, il est très difficile à l'homme de relâcher l'esprit qui est en lui. Il est très important que vous commenciez à laisser sortir vos émotions. Une autre chose, c'est que dans la sweat lodge, vous devez faire attention à votre corps. Le Créateur nous a donné un corps, et ce corps ne nous appartient pas. Notre seule tâche est de soigner ce corps et de prendre soin de lui. Physiquement, nous sommes responsables de notre corps. C'est pourquoi nous ne devons pas commettre le suicide.
When you connect these things, mental, emotion, and physical, when you connect these three together, you are open for spiritual teaching. So long as you have an educated approach to spirituality, you will never achieve your spiritualness.
Quand vous faites la connexion entre le mental, les émotions et le physique, c'est seulement à ce moment-là que vous êtes ouvert au spirituel. La première étape, c'est les 3 premières connexions. Ce n'est pas votre approche au niveau de l'éducation qui peut vous permettre d'être ouvert spirituellement. C'est tout à fait autre chose.
Spirituality, as is known in Western civilization, and true spirituality, as it is known in the spirit world, is completely 2 different teachings.
La spiritualité telle qu'on l'entend dans le monde occidental et la spiritualité telle qu'elle doit être dans les enseignements spirituels, ce sont 2 choses tout à fait différentes.
Most people who are educated will consider spirituality is that of religion dogmas.
La plupart des gens qui sont éduqués considèrent la spiritualité comme appartenant au dogme religieux.
Religions written on a piece of paper was done by another man in another time, translated by another man, and so on throughout the generations.
Les dogmes religieux ne sont que les transcriptions successives de paroles et de dogmes à travers les siècles.
Occasionally in the field of priests, preachers, spiritual teachers, you will receive a man that is trying to straighten out the teachings of Jesus Christ. And when this takes place, politics takes involved and pushes this man away.
Il arrive quand même que parmi les prêtres et les leaders spirituels, l'un revienne de façon plus vraie aux enseignements de Jésus-Christ. Mais quand cela se produit, la politique immédiatement intervient et on s'arrange pour écarter cet homme.
Spiritual, as is known among spiritual people, comes from the heart and not from the mind.
La spiritualité telle qu'on l'entend chez les gens spirituels vient du cœur et non pas de l'intellect.
Among my people, they always say that the European man prays from his head and the Indian prays from his heart.
Dans mon peuple, on dit toujours que l'homme européen prie à partir de sa tête et non pas à partir de son cœur.
What is known as praying from your head is memorization of the Bible, memorization of prayers. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And this kind of a religion dogma that is, it's sort of like poetry. You memorize it, and it fits your being, so you constantly use this certain prayer in order to pray.
Ce qu'on entend par une prière qui vient de l'intellect, c'est la plupart du temps des mémorisations de prières qui ont déjà été écrites, réciter des versets de la Bible, réciter des choses qui existent déjà. C'est plutôt de la poésie qu'une prière.
My first encounter was the Catholic Church when I was 13 years old. And in this Catholic Church, all the people my age, as we knelt down to pray, we were all praying as fast as we can, see who will finish the Hail Mary or the Our Father first. So this is praying from the mind and not from the heart.
Ma première rencontre avec l'Église catholique, c'était quand j'avais 13 ans. Et quand nous nous agenouillions pour prier, notre seul souci, c'était de finir au plus vite Notre Marie et Notre Père. Je vous salue Marie, de façon à aller le plus vite possible.
I've mentioned the very fact of what you pray for and how you pray. Is trying to teach you how to pray once again is for the unborn, the young, the old, and the animal world. The fire, the water, the air, and our mother, the earth. You don't need to pray for anything else because everything else that is created by the Creator is covered in these prayers. And what I have just mentioned, the plants, and the fishes, and the trees, everything is connected and it is covered. It is essential that you only pray for these. You don't need to go out and pray I'm going to pray for that certain eagle over there. Then I'm going to pray for this duck. Then I'm going to go over here and pray for this bird, you know. And you go on mentioning names and names and names. This system, when it doesn't understand something, they give it a name and they put it in a pigeonhole. And this is how this system works. Everything has to have a name, or else it's not what they call Western civilization.
Alors comment prier? Comme je vous l'ai déjà dit, c'est très simple. Il faut prier pour les plantes, ceux qui vont naître sur la terre, les animaux, notre mère la terre, le soleil et les éléments, l'air, le feu, l'eau et la terre. Il n'est pas nécessaire de prier pour une plante particulière ou pour tel ou tel animal, puisque tous sont inclus dans les prières dont je vous ai parlé. Alors il n'est pas nécessaire de prier pour tel ou tel canard, pour tel ou tel aigle, ou pour telle ou telle plante, pour tel ou tel poisson. Ils sont déjà inclus dans la prière. Mais ce que vous appelez la civilisation occidentale, c'est cette façon de nommer les choses et de les rendre systématiques, comme si on mettait tout dans des petites boîtes.
When an Indian prays for creations, he prays for the flying things. That means everything that flies through the air, including the bats and the birds and flying fish, everything that takes to the air. He prays for the swimming things, everything from the microscopic germs or little neutrons and atoms at the bottom of the seas and at the center of the earth. All is included when he prays for the swimming things. And he prays for the plant world. The plant world is everything in life, every plant that is growing upon this earth. He prays for the trees, which is every tree is connected. He prays for the crawling things from the alligator to the crocodile to the snake to the worm, everything that crawls. Also, he prays for the insect world, the unseen, the germ, everything that is created. So with these, he just mentions only one thing, and it covers completely the entire creation of the earth. The Creator sits in this way. If you can visualize mentally how the Creator works, is the Creator sits there and watches, and here is a man praying over here. This man prays for the unborn, the young, the old, the animal world, the flying things, the crawling things, the insect world. And the Creator looks and he said, all is beautiful. And here is another man on this side praying. He's praying for his uncle, his brother, his sister, his grandfather, Jake, and everybody else. This person over here is mentioning all these names. He's going down the road. He's mentioning, I'm going to pray for the python, and I'm going to pray for the green snake, and I'm going to pray for the anaconda, and all this kind of thing. Well, the Creator works in this way. He forgets about that person. He gets bored, He gets bored at this person praying on and on and on. But if you listen to this one, you will take the second look at another person who prays specifically. This man prays for, I'm offering the special prayers for my grandmother who is on her deathbed. This I will offer special prayers. And that's all this person says. So the Creator looks back upon this person the second time, and the prayers are answered. And this is the way that the Creator and everything, the spiritual things work. I will mention the fact that the slut lodge, in its application, it can be used for drug therapy, for the use of a person who has problems of drugs. It can be used in its application, but knowing how to do it is the answer. Not just running the sweat lodge to make it intensely hot, which I did last night for the men. I didn't want to do too much praying. I wanted to make it intensely hot, and I wanted to see who was very serious. I also wanted to see how much heat you people, some of you that were new, how much you can take. So in essence, the prayer was not there. The hand of the Creator was not inside. It was all physical. Everything was physical. Spiritual was not there. Mentality was not there. Only the part that was there inside was the emotion and the physical. These two were missing. The mental and the spiritual were missing. Emotion and physical was there. So a person lets out emotionally, and the person also lets out physically. How much can you take? The idea of it is that the sweat lodge is not an endurance test. How much heat can we take? That is not the problem. But man is very untruthful in this life. Woman is very untruthful in this life also. You can ask anybody, what a person, do you have a problem? But in the crowd of people, that person will not tell you his problem. I have a problem with heat. I have a problem with darkness. I have a problem with close enclosure. I have these problems. But this person cannot say that because you are not taught those things. One of the things that you must understand is that for the women, bravery, generosity, truthfulness, and bringing life into this world. Those are your 4 virtues that you must live by. It is like 4 commandments that you must live by these. For the man, it is bravery, generosity, endurance, and wisdom. This is where man's mind comes in. For the young people, it is obedience, respect, honor, and listening. And for the old people, it is wisdom, dream, foresight, and most of all, love. These are generosities. Generosities and virtues that you live by. So you must be truthful with yourself. Because if you are not truthful with yourself, even in the sweat lodge, as a physical sweat lodge, you will hurt yourself. It will be too hot for you. You will not be able to take it. And it is better to say it here while we are sitting in a circle. I have a problem. I would not be able to take the heat in the sweat lodge. Rather than doing that, you go inside the sweat lodge, and then halfway to the sweat lodge, you come flying out of the sweat lodge, and then you cannot live with yourself because you understand that you ran, and when you said, when you have not mentioned that you cannot take the sweat lodge. That is always something that you must understand. You got to be truthful with yourself. That is application of learning how to use a sweat lodge. It takes time. If you can stay in the sweat lodge, for one door, it is good that you come out. So and out you go. Next time it'll be 2 doors, 3 doors, 4 doors. And you have to have patience. And you can't be an instant anything. You're not an instant potato. You got to be something, you got to have lots of patience. And with patience, true understanding comes. You cannot run and grab a hold of truthfulness right away and thinking that you can become spiritual overnight.
Les vertus essentielles sont la bravoure, la générosité, la sincérité et la fertilité. Pour l'homme, c'est la bravoure, la générosité, l'endurance et la sagesse. Pour le jeune, c'est l'obéissance, le respect, l'honneur et l'écoute. Pour le vieux, c'est la sagesse, les rêves, la prévoyance et surtout l'amour.
There are different things that go on in the sweat lodge among my people. You take, for instance, there is 32 medicine men standing right here. And these 32 medicine men, each one has a different teaching. They have their application of how to teach and how to cure different diseases. These medicine men, essentially have all the same teachings from the very beginning. But over the period and process of time, these people have learned to master themselves by going off into a different thing. The way we teach you the sweat lodge is the first one. It is the true way to teach you. Then this person this young man becomes a medicine man. This man goes to the mountain. He receives a vision. And in this vision, this man is taught that you must run the sweat lodge in this way. So the man questions himself. So he comes to the two medicine men who are waiting for him at the sweat lodge after he comes off his vision, and the medicine man sit down and they analyze the vision of this person. And these two medicine men say, from this day on, you will be a Heoka. From this day on, you will be something. So a true medicine man cannot essentially go out and question the work of another medicine man. Medicine man, as is known among the people, among our people, are known by the people. They work for the people, and they are picked by the people, they are picked by the hand of the Creator. So this is why the Indian teachings is very hard to infiltrate, to get inside and break it. You cannot do it. Because when you break this man, there's another one already. When you break that one, there's always there. And it's always starting all over again. So there is no way that modern world of civilization cannot break the Indian religion in its reference to the earth. These people are all interrelated. The 32 medicine men among the Lakota people are by blood related. By blood, they are very close relatives. So all the 32 medicine men are relatives. That includes Wallace Black Elk. Wallace Black Elk is a nephew of my father. Silo Black Crow is a nephew of my father. Crow Dog is a nephew of my father. So all these are blood by blood related. And how can you break a family tree? It is impossible. And it is that way with every tribe in America. The Navajos, the Apaches, the Pueblos, these medicine people are interrelated by blood, and they are very close. So when a different person comes in, and they are not of the blood, they question that fact. They question, who is this person? Who is this person that is doing this? Why is he doing it? Is he sent there by the U.S. government? Is he sent there by the U.S. government because the spiritual teaching is being looked upon by the European man to take it and encompass it into his life? And when this happens, governments come in, infiltration. They come in and they try to break the religion from inside. Because only in Europe you can do that, but in America, among the Indian people, it is impossible. So these people who do this do not work for the reservation. They don't work for Indians in America. They are not heard of. You will never hear or see them at ceremonies because they are of a different breed of people. So in the line of medicine people, I'm just telling you what can happen, what can take place. You can be hurt by different things, different teachings. This sweat lodge, as we teach you, are basically the truth is the way we're teaching you. How to build a sweat lodge and for what reason. Those are the truthfulness around it. One day you might master yourself. You go to the mountain, you receive a vision that you must run a sweat lodge in a different way. So you come off that mountain, and those medicine men who take you to the mountain, they are the one answerable to this person. This man who has received this vision on the mountain, who comes down and starts teaching the sweat lodge in a different way, are questioned by the people. But these people must ask these medicine men who interpreted this man's vision on the mountain. It takes two medicine men recognized by the Creator, by the people, to interpret a vision of a man who comes off the mountain. So it is each medicine man, the question you must ask is, who interpreted your vision? That you must know, because each medicine man, no matter who he is, what he is, where he came from, has to come off that mountain with an interpretation by two renowned medicine men. I want to know if there's any questions about the sweat lodge last night and what you expect from the sweat lodge. Because today, the sweat lodge, there will be 3 men who we asked already to go and start the sweat lodge. And that is those 3 people sitting right there. And so, in case you don't know, it's just those 3 people we ask of, for their help, because when you're running sweat lodge, you watch people and you can see who is very serious. So then you put those 3 people in a position where they can help the most. Also, there will be some women that will be picking some mint today. The mint will be probably about 2 inches thick all the way inside the sweat lodge tonight. So you have a nice smell anyway. Not to criticize the men. When the women go inside the sweat lodge, it smells nice. When the men go in, it smells like a bear that's been hibernating for a year. What I'm saying is personal hygiene, cleanliness. It's a very essential thing. I'm not saying you're a dirty old man or anything like that. I'm just telling you the feeling. Some of them smell like cigars, some of them smell like a pipe, some of them smell, differently. So just the feeling of putting mint inside. So it'll smell like mint inside, nice. We'll also be drinking some mint tea inside, so we can purify you outwardly, from inside. To put it out. The men who have in sweat lodge will be going in first, including Bob Aubrey and that the black man. They will be going in also. They don't know it yet, but they will be going in. So we have to confront them and say, "We heard you're going in." And this way, they have to go in. So those people have, the ones that have not been in sweat lodge will be going in first. That will be depending on.
What is the difference between a mental, spiritual sweat lodge and the emotional, physical sweat lodge, and where is the frontier between the two that you mentioned, and why? How can you pass from one to the other? Is it another way of running the sweat lodge?
No, it's not running how, it's understanding yourself is what it is. If you can understand yourself mentally, you can understand yourself emotionally, you can understand your physicalness, then you are open to spirituality. Learning how to pray from inside. You learn how to do that. But if you have a problem with mental problem, you will never achieve this. You will achieve this only in Western religion, because that is the educated approach.
Il ne s'agit pas de deux manières de conduire les sweat lodge. C'est la manière dont on se comprend soi-même. Si vous comprenez mentalement, si vous vous comprenez émotionnellement, si vous vous comprenez physiquement, vous pouvez, le spirituel vous est ouvert. Mais si vous avez un problème au niveau du mental, ou un problème émotionnel, ou un problème physique, votre énergie sera consacrée à rester là. Vous serez coincé là et vous ne pourrez pas entrer dans le spirituel. Donc il n'y a pas différentes sortes de spirituel.
When you have these two taken away, emotional and physical, mental and spiritual, like last night, there was no spiritual in there. You couldn't put yourself into spiritual. There was no way you can do it. Because there was, first of all, concentration of many people with anxieties, problems, each one ranging from different things. You got 16 minds with 16 different things on their mind. And it is almost impossible unless you spend 3 hours in there with them. Then you can finally bring it into spirituality. So the whole feeling inside was that of physical, and the emotional tries to come in. For some it did, some it didn't. So spiritual, though you didn't see the pipe come in, you didn't see too much prayers. Because a person cannot bring himself into praying because he is more concerned about that person, that person, that person, and when it closes, they start screaming, they start hollering, they want to get out. How can you bring in spirituality when this is happening? So what should happen is some stable people who are know and concerned. When a man is in his true spiritual form, there is no sweat lodge could ever run him out. No heat. The heat of the rocks will never run him out. Because prayers is stronger than anything that is physical. Prayer is stronger than emotion. Prayer is stronger than mentality. It is stronger. True spiritual feeling, to pray hard. When you pray hard, you will not feel the heat. I keep telling it to people. You don't feel that heat when you're praying hard because your concentration is on spiritual. But in order to regain the spiritual, you must gain, first of all, the control of your mental state, your control of your emotion, or your control of physical. Controls of emotion means that I can start praying right now and start crying right away. That is control of emotion. You control yourself emotionally. But at the same time, you can pray and cry, and in 5 minutes, you can laugh. So that is controlling yourself. I talked about the Dalai Lama who controlled himself physically. He controlled himself physically. He didn't sweat in the sweat lodge till he came out, and he turned it on, and all the sweat came out. In this way. So preparation before the sweat lodge. At lunchtime, when you eat, you should intake a little bit more salt than you usually take. Salt opens the pores of your body. You must utilize the food at hand. You must utilize it. You don't go over there and eat a whole pig before you go inside the sweat lodge. No, you don't eat a heavy meal. You eat, in the areas of salad. And in this way, or if you do eat meat, you must, before the sweat lodge, have an intake of salt. So when you go inside the sweat lodge, the salt will penetrate, it will open up your heart valves, it will open it up, At the same time, it opens the pores of your skin, and it opens up and you sweat. You sweat in places where you thought you could never sweat before. And that is, once you start sweating, you are open for spiritual teaching. Whether you know that or not, inside the sweat lodge, the person starts sweating very hard. He is open. He opened himself. It's like opening a valve. You open inside and you're ready for any spiritual teaching. It also keeps you from fainting inside the sweat lodge, because many times there is no salt intake in your life. So, well, of course, you've never sweated too, so there's no salt intake. At the same time, it stops up every pore in your body. So when you go inside, all your life, you've been living the life of perfume and powders. You go inside the sweat lodge, you can feel all the pores opening up, and you feel like a new man. When you come out, it's clean, it's open. You know? So that's why also we ask you that when you go in the sweat lodge and you come out, you know, if we had a lake or a river, we can jump in. Otherwise, you go take a shower right away and wash off, you know, all the poisons that come and is extracted from your body. There's something that I've noticed yesterday.
J'ai remarqué quelque chose hier.
That when that sacred pipe is loaded, when you say it's loaded, it's packed, it's got tobacco inside.
Quand la pipe sacrée, quand on y a mis dedans du tabac.
When that pipe is loaded, nobody walks across here.
Personne ne doit traverser. Quand on a mis du tabac dans la pipe qui est là, personne ne doit traverser.
Nobody walks across there except the fireman and the medicine man is the only people that can go back and forth. After the sweat lodge, you may do so as you wish. But when that pipe is loaded, you walk this way, that way, or on top of the wall, or whatever way you must go. But you don't go across here. This is your grandmother connecting the earth to the sun, and the sun to the earth. An invisible pathway through there. It is like the sun giving energy to the earth. It is there for one reason. It is this feeling of prayer. That is something that is most people do not understand, you know. So, oh, there's nothing there. The sun will go across, you know. Then you find yourself running out of the sweat lodge, and you wonder what took place, you know. Oh, you know, it's like, you know, the Catholic says you broke the 10th commandment or something like that. Thou shalt not take a man's wife or something like this. You know, it's the same thing. It's going across here. You're doing something you're not supposed to do. And we'll tell you over and over again, do not cross there, because once you cross there, you're going to come out of that sweat lodge. You're going to come out of the sweat lodge whether you like it or not.
Ce qui est très important aussi, c'est lorsque la pipe donc, est là et que le tabac est dedans, il ne faut pas traverser ce chemin. Le symbole, peut-être vous ne le connaissez pas, c'est celui de la terre reliée au soleil. Et il y a deux énergies qui sont en connexion l'une avec l'autre, deux énergies fondamentales. Le soleil, le feu, la terre reçoit cette énergie. Quand la pipe est pleine de tabac, il faut que vous tourniez autour quand vous sortez, d'une manière ou d'une autre, mais ne traversez pas ce chemin invisible. C'est comme s'il y avait des murs invisibles qui étaient mis là. Et que vous le croyez ou non, c'est très important. Si vous le faites, vous n'êtes plus dans la sweat lodge.
Elle serait pas dans la
Oui, vous ne resterez pas dedans.
Est-ce que la sweat lodge est ouverte à tous les gens aussi autour, comme hier ou pas? Est-ce qu'aujourd'hui la sweat lodge est ouverte à toutes les autres personnes qui veulent ou pas?
En dehors du groupe?
Oui.
Is the sweat lodge open to anyone else from the group apart the two you've mentioned today?
I would like to prefer it to the people that are here.
Yeah.
You know, these people have spent money to come here. You know, it will be just like me. I spend $1,000 to go learn something, and this person over here brings 20 of his friends. You know, And it's like always, even at the Indian powwow, there are 10 singers sitting at one drum, 10 here, 10 there, 10 there, 10 there, 10 there. But one of them jumps up and joins this one. He jumps up and joins that one. He jumps up and joins this one. No, it is not right. Only to look at it in this way. Some of these people have taken their valuable time away from their work or whatever they must do to come here to learn something. It is not right for this hippie man walking across the street to come over here and jump in the place of one of these people. What you're doing is you're pushing away a person who is looking for themselves. So there are many of us sitting right here. There are many of us who don't smoke cigarettes, you know? And sometimes we like to breathe fresh air. And sometimes we leave the windows open for that fact that we like to breathe fresh air. And those of us who don't smoke, it's not essential to say we've never smoked in our lives. Some of us did smoke, we had a problem with cigarettes, and we have conquered that problem and we put away the cigarette. And so if you want to really get down to it, you know, I suggest that you hold down your cigarettes inside, where it's congested inside like this. And hold down your cigarettes in respect to those people who are sitting beside you, from our people. Our people use it for spiritual ceremonies. You see me using tobacco in the mornings, in the sunrise ceremonies. That's how you use tobacco. You use tobacco when you cut down a tree. You use tobacco when you take the life of an animal. You use tobacco when you use a plant or a tree or an herb. You must use tobacco as an offering to the Creator. So the tobacco is the offering to the Creator, not in smoke, but as a tobacco. So this is how the Indian understands tobacco, so that you may understand it. And that includes hash and marijuana. Those are spiritual things that our people and medicine people use to cure various diseases and different kinds of disease. It is not for pleasure. Okay? So these you must understand if you want to learn to respect the herbs and the plants and the trees and yourself. You must take care of yourself, that these things are used for various reasons. Even the grandfather peel is used by people who understand that spiritual understanding. So, you know, we really want to get down to basics and facts of things. You know, please, you know, watch your cigarette smoking if you must, and if you're dying and if you have a nicotine fit, you know, you may smoke one. You know, better yet, you can chew it. You know? Maybe that will break you from smoking cigarettes. But you know, sometimes you have to do various things in order to do something. Also, at breakfast time, you know, here's a man who don't smoke is trying to eat. And those of you that smoke, the most ungodly smell there is a man who's smoking beside you who's trying to eat breakfast. You know, that is, you know, it's, you know, or to make it matters worse, a man who is married to a woman who smokes, or a woman who's married to a man who smokes. It's like kissing an ashtray. So you must understand those facts. You know? You wonder why your husband don't kiss you, you know? Because he's like an ashtray, but he doesn't have the heart to tell you. You know, or either maybe your husband is that way. You know, you kiss your husband is like kissing an ashtray. You know? So you must understand what this tobacco is all about. You know, there's good parts and there's also bad parts. The bad part is that when we abuse it, we don't understand it. It's the same way with many things that we do, we don't understand it, so we tend to abuse it. So what I'm saying is, you know, just pay respect to those people. Respect those people, and they will also respect your feelings. So in this way, it's just called courtesy.
Why tobacco? Why is tobacco used by the ancients?
Tobacco to our people You might say, in the very beginning of time, many years ago, our people had problems with tobacco. We had much problems with tobacco. So in the spiritual teachings, it was given to our people that we must only use it during time of ceremony. Tobacco is a plant, as you know, and all plants have a spiritual connotation to our physicalness, to our mentalness, to our way of life. Tobacco is essentially used right from the very beginning by the Plains people, by the Iroquois people, people of the Iroquois nation, people of the southeast people, the Muskogees, the Creeks, also clear up into Canada. In the areas of the Midwest going down to the south, corn is used. Ground up corn is used. Because you're talking about thousands of miles away. An area where a plant is more predominant is used for spiritual purposes. So tobacco was more predominant in that area of the plains, the high plains. They were used because there were overabundant of those, of the tobacco. Whereas in the southern areas, corn was more abundant. So corn was used in place of tobacco as a ceremony. Different areas of from Eastern religions, Eastern area, rice is used as a ceremony. Depending on the area where you're from, what is more abundant in that area that grows wild, that is what is used as a ceremony. It is like in Europe, you use a lot of what you call the stingweed. The weed that you touch it, it stings. It is good for salads. It is good for tea. It is good for administration purposes. It is good for many things because that is overabundant in Europe. You have a lot of that in Europe, where in America we don't have too much of it. You know, so for the areas where you come from, it is obvious that if you come from the ocean, that you will use salt as a ceremony. So people on the islands of Okinawa, people of the islands of Iwo Jima, Aishima, Philippines, all these people, the overabundance of salt, the salt is used for the ceremonies. So the different areas where you come from, whichever is more abundant, is used and it is not to be abused.